Buong bansa ay tumutok na dahil oras na para sa napapanahong balita tungkol sa Agham at Teknolohiya sa bansa. Ito ang DOST Report. Magandang araw, Pilipinas. Ako po si Orin Miranda, ang inyong kapatid sa Impakawid. Ngayon po ay March 12, 2021. Punong-punong po tayo ng mga balita Agham. Ngayong araw, dala na nag-iisang kalihim ng Department of Science and Technology, Secretary Fortunato Boy de la Peña. Magandang araw po, Secretary Boy.
Magandang araw, Onin, at sa lahat ng ating taga-subaybay.
Alamin po natin, sir, ang updates tungkol sa Science and Technology Program sa bansa, sa sektor po ng kalusugan, kabuhayan, kaisipan at kinabukasan, mga kaibigan. Narito po si Secretary Boy.
Salamat, Onin. Katulad ng dati, uunahin natin ang mga updates na may kinalaman sa kalusugan at kabuhayan. Although mahaba itong kabuhayan natin ngayon, maaaring maputol ko yung kabuhayan bago pumunta sa kaayusan. So I will start my report first on the kalusugan aspect. My first item here is the in Sarangani province, we expect a new complementary food processing facility to be set up, and this is really related to our fight against malnutrition. So this complementary food processing facility is expected to be set up in Alabel, Sarangani, and this is part of our DOST Region 12's collaboration with the Sarangani Provincial Local Government Unit. The facility will mass produce affordable and nutritious complementary food products using the food production technologies that were developed by the DOST Food and Nutrition Research Institute, or FNRI. The aim is to help reduce malnutrition rate in the province, especially to children 6 months and onwards. The next item is still on FNRI. This is still on kalusugan, and I'm referring to the webinar that DOST FNRI conducted that was highlighting e-nutrition. So the DOST FNRI conducted a webinar last March 5, where the e-nutrition component of FNRI was given focus. The e-nutrition website, is the data warehouse of the National Nutrition Survey. It provides electronically accessible information on individuals' growth and body composition, biomarkers, food and nutrient intake, and health and other related indicators, which are useful inputs in crafting and or reviewing policies and programs on food, nutrition, health, agriculture, and social services. One of its features is a page dedicated to FNRI's facts and figures from its 2008 National Nutrition Survey, 2013 National Nutrition Survey, and the 2015 updating survey. So we just want to let people know that this website is accessible. People doing research can make use of the data that is found here. And there can be a lot of uses in terms of policies and programs, including those of our local governments. The third item is still on actually part of kalusugan and part of kabuhayan, and this is regarding the community face mask, a now normal, highlighting the continuing need for quick response rewear. So the continuing need for face masks has been highlighted in recent weeks with the spike in COVID-19 cases worldwide, including the Philippines. The quick response QR project to produce rewear, what rewear means is reusable, washable, and rewearable face mask made smart, is funded by the DOST, and it has already produced 600,000 cloth face masks, reusable up to 50 times using the PTRI developed smart textile technology. Test results indicate that the rewear mask, while being a cloth mask highly recommended for community use, is the better cloth mask, meeting the properties required for basic care in a standard hospital medical unit, at the least with reference to particulate penetration. So PTRI has been providing consultancy and advisory services to other national government agencies, including DTI, DTH, and more recently, I think the real update here is that the Land Bank of the Philippines has adopted the minimum specification requirements following performance properties of the DOST PTRI river mask. Okay, and so I think they will be bidding out soon 80,000 pieces of reusable and washable face mask for the use of Land Bank. Now we go to Kabuhayan, and one of items that I would like to report is that our DOST Industrial Technology Development Institute has organized, and I hope this will be first and will be ongoing further, a virtual halal awareness training in collaboration with Prime Certification and Inspection Asia Pacific Incorporated. A virtual halal awareness training is based on halal UAE.S 2055-1 2015, okay, and this was held last February 19. It was organized by the DOST ITDI's Food Processing Division, and it was actually conducted by Prime Certification and Inspection Asia Pacific. This training aims to assist the halal DOST project operators with their halal certification applications. There were 53 certified and recognized halal lead auditors from DOST ITDI and from the DOST regional offices, together with the halal project operators who attended the training. It covered procedures and requirements in obtaining certification based on halal UAE.S 2055-1, a series of 2015. In addition, topics such as UAE halal requirements on imported and local food products and their standard requirements for halal certification were also discussed, including halal HACCP or hazards analysis, critical control point, as well as the halal food value chain were discussed. I think this is important because we are trying to capture a bigger share of the market for halal foods. That is why at the DOST we have given priority to, number one, having halal certification laboratories, also the R&D on new halal products, not only food, but even in terms of healthcare products. And of course, the importance of training cannot be overemphasized. We have the DOST, another item to report, ITDI or Industrial Technology Development Institute, reporting that they have signed a memorandum of agreement with two companies, namely Maryland Manufacturing, which is located in Valenzuela City, and Camp Farms Incorporated, which is coming from Pampanga, for the technical assistance in putting up a processing facility for the production of calamansi products. We have now a big range of products that can be derived from calamansi. It's not only the juice, there are many products that can be developed out of this or can be produced out of this. So the DOST ITDI included the assistance included the transfer of process technology for the production, for example, of ready-to-drink juice. We also have sweetened calamansi juice concentrate, and they will also help in identifying the equipment and other design-related inputs that will be necessary for these new facilities of these existing companies. Now we go to another report, this time coming from our Forest Products Research and Development Institute. And actually the report is related to the operation of what the DOST and FPRDI has set up in Zamboanga, Sibugay. And this is to assist rubber farmers, okay, to use with a higher value added what we call senile rubber trees. Okay, so after a certain age, the rubber trees are considered senile. Okay, and in the past they were just using this to as fuel, okay, and other traditional uses. But through the intervention of DOST, FPRDI, we were able to assist the members of the Tambanan Agrarian Reform Beneficiaries Multi-Purpose Cooperative, or TARBEMCO, to start producing furniture pieces made from old and unproductive rubber wood trees. And this is the reason, because of the experience here, DOST FPRDI projects that there will be a higher demand for furniture that is made from rubber wood. Okay, of course, the design part is also very important, but at least the processing, the preparation of the wood is very important, and this is part of the assistance of DOST FPRDI in our project in Zamboanga, Sibugay. Next is still on kabuhayan, and this time I'm referring to the setting up of a native chicken R&D center, which is set up in the Zamboanga Peninsula under the Western Mindanao State University. It has been approved by DOST as one of the DOST's niche centers in the regions, or under our R&D NICER program. So this particular center, located in Western Mindanao State University in Zamboanga, will undertake studies on Philippine native chicken breeds to augment or to support food security and also employment generation efforts in our country. Currently, the center is focused on research involving the Sampen native chicken, which is a purified variant of the Holowano native chicken, which is primarily cared for in the Zamboanga Peninsula, that has consistently exhibited an 80% fertility and hatchability rate and a 90% survival rate compared to conventional breeds. I move on to La Union, this time Region 1, assisting a company in La Union in producing the first batch of locally made surgical masks. Okay, so let us emphasize that there are two general categories of masks. This is the one which is called community mask, okay, and the other one would be the surgical mask. So our set-up beneficiary there in La Union, tawag dito yung Small Enterprise Technology Upgrading Program, Module House Incorporated of Agoo, La Union. Actually, alam naman natin na affected din naman ang demand for furniture during these days, and so the company Module House decided to ang tawag dito, to go into other areas. Okay, actually sila yung unang nag-adapt ng technology na ibinahagi ng FAME, a startup company who designed our specimen collection booths, which were then distributed to 91 public hospitals. And this company, Module House, also adopted the design. And they, together with DOST Region 1, they supplied 9 specimen collection booths, parang donation na nila to 9 hospitals, public hospitals in Region 1. This time, they thought of branching out into the manufacture of locally made surgical mask. And so our DOST Region 1 assisted them, okay? And of course, this involves the making available some funds for the acquisition of equipment, which they will repay under our setup program. So this month, the firm has already successfully produced the first batch of surgical face mask branded as Safe Tech. This is a 4-ply mask packed in a box where each box contains 25 pieces of face mask, but still awaiting approval for license to operate from the FDA. So we will also help them in getting FDA approval. Another kabuhayan project actually is a DOST project in the Kabakan District Jail. You know, this is actually a training that was conducted last February 23, where 9 out of 29 persons deprived of liberty. Ito yung mga nasa kulungan, ano? At the Kabakan District Jail, okay, were trained on very simple technologies like soap making, and this was requested by the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology in the Kabakan District. So the PDLs, ito yung tawag natin, persons deprived of liberty, PDLs, were also provided with knowledge on proper packaging and labeling of their products. So the materials used for the activity were provided by our DOST Region 12, and the initiative is aimed at preparing PDLs for their life after detention. Now, still on kabuhayan and somewhat, well, this is now on startups. Our DOST Calabarzon or Region 4A has partnered with Batangas State University to support technology startups. We are really on a campaign to support more technology startups. So last March 6, Batangas State University, through its Center for Technopreneurship and Innovation, held the final pitch, okay, which is the concluding event of their Smart Cities Adapting the New Normal program. This program, which they call SCAN program, is an open invitation to startups to showcase their innovative smart city solutions brought about by the pandemic. And one of the program's partners, DOST, funded the prizes for the participating startups and was also a part of the judging process. This was made possible to the involvement of our engineer Francisco Barquilla III of our technical operations unit in DOST Calabarzon. So there were 7 startups who pitched their smart solutions in the fields of smart agriculture, smart governance, and smart health. In the end, a company called RXDB, which is a startup aiming to bring innovative solutions to the pharmaceutical industry, emerged as the final pitch winner. Now, on a, shall we say, more appropriate level of technology naman for a particular group, we have a report coming from our DOST Region 5 sa Kabikulan, and this is the launching of smoke fish production in Castilla, Sorsogon. This is part of our DOST Community Empowerment through Science and Technology program. So the Region 5 CES project will benefit our fisher folk of Barangay Macalaya in Castilla, Sorsogon, because this is really added value for their fish catch, and also, of course, to help also preserve these fish, you know, in case the fresh ones are not immediately sold. So on March 8th, our LGU Castilla Mayor, Honorable Isagani Mendoza, received the assistance coming from DOST Region 5, and this is in the amount of 900,000 pesos to have a community-based program for smoked fish coming from Castilla, Sorsogon. And of course, I would like to report another one which is really related to kabuhayan, but actually this is very important for the future of our citrus industry. We have a nicer center called the Nueva Vizcaya State University Citrus R&D Center, and they cover many aspects of citrus research, from breeding to processing. And of course, one important aspect is disease control. Okay, and the news that we have here is that they opened their disease indexing laboratory for viral and bacterial-based citrus diseases. So this is under this center, and the 2 major diseases that they are addressing immediately are the Huanglong bean or HLB disease, which is bacteria coming from bacteria, and the citrus tristeza virus, CTV. So this is very important for pomelo seedlings that are intended for inter-island transport. So the disease indexing for the Huanglong bean or HLB is actually a polymerase chain reaction-based technology like the swab test for COVID-19, while the antigen test by serology is being used for the detection of the citrus Tristeta virus or CTV. We consider this as a big breakthrough because this is very important. Remember that in our proposed bill for Virology Science Technology Institute of the Philippines, we are addressing the study of viruses both in plants, in animals, and of course, more importantly, for human beings. And so I think is that about it for the Kabuhayan report. There is one more, and this is the DOST shared project to support women social entrepreneurs. As we know, this is National Women's Month, and our DOST Philippine Council for Industry, Energy, and Emerging Technologies, R&D, launched their program called Women Helping Women, Innovating Social Enterprises, or the WHY's program. So this is a public-private partnership initiative that brings together government agencies and private organizations to seek out and prepare women-led social enterprises for growth, scalability, and subsequent venture capital funding. More importantly, the DOST shared shall connect these women entrepreneurs to the science community and provide them access to technology assistance.
Maraming po salamat, Secretary Boy, para sa unang bahagi ng inyong pag-ulat. Ang ikalawang bahagi ng kanyang pong report ay muling sa inyo. Abangan po lahat ng yan sa pagbalik po ng DOST report.
At nandito naman tayo ngayon sa
Mga kaibigan, narito po muli si Secretary Boy para sa pagpapatuloy ng DOST report. Secretary.
Yeah, thank you, Onin. Actually, this portion is shorter. I have only 2 items to report under Kaayusan and 1 under Kinabukasan. So under Kaayusan, allow me to report an update coming from our DOST Advanced Science and Technology Institute, or DOST ASTI. And this is regarding their ULAT project. Okay, so they have installed 40 lightning detecting automated weather monitoring stations. So they have installed this, okay, all over Metro Manila and select regional DOST Pag-asa observation and weather stations, which is to provide research data to determine the relationship of lightning strikes and torrential rainfall, to put together a forecast method to predict the weather at a shorter time period. This is really a pioneering research worldwide, okay, being undertaken jointly by the Hokkaido University and the Advanced Science and Technology Institute together with Pag-asa. So the lightning detection automatic weather station is called Poteka, P-O-T-E-K-A, and its variation V-Poteka. These have been installed under the project ULAT, or Understanding Lightning and Thunderstorms for Extreme Weather Monitoring and Information Sharing. Okay, so hopefully this can be really a very significant contribution in terms of making predictions and forecasts related to weather. Okay, so the indicators that can be seen in our lightning sensors can tell us more about what to expect in terms of, let's say, the volume of rain that will we expected in terms of the intensity of the storms that are forthcoming. And today I also was figuring out whether these studies can help improve our policies regarding lightning when a certain intensity of lightning is experienced, pinapatigil ang mga airplane flights, and this is really a big, shall we say, disturbance, kung magkaroon ka ng 1 hour, 2 hour, or 3 hour stoppage of flights, that is really already affecting so many people. And the other one, still on Kaayusan, is a project of DOST Region 8, or in Eastern Visayas region, and this is really something very basic. They cooperated with the local government unit in Nabal to launch a potable water purification system project, still under our Community Empowerment to Science and Technology program. This is being set up in Higatangan Island in Biliran. So the objective is really to make available potable water. Okay, 50 gallons per day is the target to supply to our households in that particular island. So about 250 households will benefit from this. And lastly, our kinabukasan report. This comes from the DOST Metals Industry Research and Development Center, or MIRDC, reporting that the total investment now that they have coming from government in setting up our advanced manufacturing center that will be boosting the local additive manufacturing capabilities that will help our manufacturing companies has already reached 330 million pesos. And this will definitely boost the capabilities of our manufacturing sector. The most common item that we hear here would be the use of 3D printing technologies and our rapid and advanced prototyping for product innovation and development using additive manufacturing technologies, which we call rapid ADMATEC. Okay, is one of the important features of our advanced manufacturing center. And so there is now a long lineup of projects, okay, and we will be inaugurating actually our advanced manufacturing center on March 18. Okay, so I think this is all on in for my report covering the last week period under the DOST report.
Alright, maraming salamat po, Secretary Boy. Sa aming pong pagbalik, natin ng iba't ibang research and development projects ng Department of Science and Technology para mapangalagaan at mapagyaman po ang biodiversity sa Pilipinas. Huwag po kayo aalis, magbabalik pa ang DOST report. Kayo po'y nakatutok sa DOST report. Ang Pilipinas ay itinuturing po na isa sa mega-diverse na bansa dahil halos 75% ng biodiversity ay matatagpuan dito. Ano ba ang biodiversity? Ito'y tumutukoy sa iba't iba at pagkakaiba-iba ng mga buhay sa mundo. Ngunit po sa paglipas ng panahon, naharap tayo sa mga suliranin sa pagprotekta at pagkonserba sa ating pong mayamang biodiversity. Nariyan po ang pagkasira ng ating likas na yaman at pagiging endangered ng ilan sa mga halaman at hayop sa bansa gaya ng tamaraw, Philippine eagle, waling-waling at iba pa.
Mga ka-onin, kaya naman ang DOST o Department of Science and Technology sa pamamagitan o pangunguna ng DOST PICARD, Philippine Council for Agriculture, Aquatic and Natural Resources, R&D, ay nagsasagawa ng mga proyekto at pag-aaral upang mapangalagaan at maprotektahan ang ating mayamang biodiversity.
Pag-uusapan po natin, Secretary, ang richness ng Philippine Biodiversity at ang iba't ibang programang Agham at Teknolohiya para mapagyabong pa ito para po sa marine resources ating pong tatalakayin. Ang DNA barcoding of selected marine fishes in Davao and Tutok Archipelago and along the north bifurcation of the North Equatorial Current. Kasama po si Dr. Cleto L. Naniola Jr., Professor 5 ng University of the Philippines, Mindanao. Para naman sa Forest and Environment Research, tatalakayin po ni Dr. Victor B. Amoroso, University Professor Emeritus ng Central Mindanao, ang Philippine Fern. Para naman sa Crops Research, ang documentation of indigenous vegetables of the Philippines Project. Ang tatalakayin po ni Dr. Lorna Sister, Researcher 2 sa Institute of Crop Science, University of the Philippines, Los Baños. Marami po ang ating pag-usapan, marami pong pandagdag kaalaman, kaya atin na po umpisahan ang talakayan. Unahin na po natin ang isang pag-aaral po sa marine biodiversity or marine resources. Ito po yung DNA barcoding of selected marine fishes in Davao and Tutok Archipelago and DNA barcoding and genetic diversity of selected marine fishes along the north bifurcation of the North Equatorial Current. Kasama po si Dr. Cleto L. Naniola Jr., Professor 5 ng University of the Philippines, Mindanao.
First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Cleto Naniola for joining us today. So, Dr. Cleto, ibahagi mo naman sa amin kung ano ba ang DNA barcoding at bakit mahalaga itong gawin.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, ang kahalagan po ng DNA barcoding ay ito po yung sa makabagong teknolohiya para malaman natin kung ang isang organism ba ay magkaiba o parehas lang. Kasi meron po naman tayong mga organisms na magkaibang itsura at kala natin sila ay magkaiba na species, pero nalaman natin sa barcoding na sila pa isa. Kasi meron po mga organisms na magkaiba ang kulay ng babae at saka ng lalaki. Katulad din po ng mga isda. So traditionally po, ginagawa natin yung pag-ID ng mga organisms base sa kanilang morphometrics. Ito bitutulad yung kanilang physical na kaanyuan sa panlabas at para ma-identify kung sila ba ay magkaiba o magkasama. So complementary po tong ating traditional na ginagamit with the DNA barcoding para naman po makasiguro tayo na ang isang organism na tinatawag natin ay tama.
Ano pong klase ng isda ang ating pong pinag-aralan para po dito? At bakit po ito ang napili po natin?
Yung sa pag-aaral na ginagawa po namin ngayon sa UP Mindanao na funded po ng DOST, ay pinili po namin yung mga isda na commercially important. So ito po yung mga isda na makikita natin sa ating mga palengke, sa mga talipapa. At mahalaga ito kasi ito po ay ating source of food. So gusto nating malaman kung ito bang mga kinakain natin ay maganda pa ang ayos ng kanilang gene pool o depleted na yung kanilang gene pool kasi yun po ay malaki ang epekto sa populasyon ng isda kasi pwede po silang mawala dahil maliit yung kanilang variations ng gene pool. So inuuna po natin ito kasi malaga ito po sa ating para sa ating mga kalusugan at napakarami po nating species ng isda sa Pilipinas at bago po ito mawala at kailangan natin mapanatili katulad ng sinabi niyo Oni na mapanatili na para sa talay ay magbenepisyo. So kailangan natin aralin itong mga isdang ito.
May tanong pala po, paano po ginagawa yung ano pong ginagawa po doon sa isda?
Yung isda from the market, kinukuha namin yung 3 piraso ng bawat klase at dinadala sa laboratory and then pinipicturean namin na maayos katulad ng mga pictures na nasa likod ko na naka-spread yung kanyang mga body parts. And then kukuha kami ng tissue ng isda, yung maliit na muscle niya, at yun po ang sinasubject namin sa barcoding. Pero aside from that po, ginagawa namin ay traditionally using the nomenclature, yung tawag sa amin, tinitingnan namin na magpareha ba o magkaiba yung mga klase ng isda. At ito ay na-verify using the barcoding technique. So yun po yung ginagawa namin from the collection up to the laboratory preservation. Then ang nakalimutan ko pong sabihin, meron din po itong nakalagay sa database para mas maayos po yung ating record sa mga bawat na isda na ating naaral.
Salamat, Dr. Cleto. Ang pagkakaalam ko, ang mga pag-aaral na ito ay isinagawa sa Davao, sa Sulu at sa North Bifurcation of the North Equatorial Current. Bakit ito ang mga napiling lokasyon?
Kasi po sir, yung mga isda po natin, di ba, familiar tayo sa bihod at saka sa sperm yung sa lalaki ng mga isda. Ang mga isda po natin lahat ay external fertilization. So ibig sabihin po, sasaboy ng sperm at saka ng egg ang organisms at ito po ay may fertilize dahil sila ay nasa dagat. So yung kanilang mga itlog ay habang nagde-develop na isang maliit na organism ay napapadpad ng agos ng tubig dagat. So kung titan natin ngayon kung bakit namin tinitingnan yung bifurcation, kasi from the Pacific, yung tinatawag natin na North Equatorial Current, tatama sa may gitnang bahagi ng Pasipiko ng Pilipinas, at ang isang parte nito ay papunta sa north, ang isang parte naman to ay papunta sa south. So tinitingnan po natin na kung yung mga napupunta sa north at saka sa south ay magkakaiba pa rin ba sila na population o isang population po rin sila, kasi may importante po to para yung sa sustainability aspect ng ating mga marine resources, lalo-lalo po yung sa isda na inaaral namin.
Tanong ko lang din po, gumagawa din po ba tayo ng gene bank para po sa mga marine fishes?
Yung sa ngayon, ang kinukuha lang natin na gene components sa ating mga isda ay yung pang barcode lang. Yung gene bank po kasi na sinasabi, ito po yung whole genome ng isang organism na i-store natin para meron tayong data. Pero sa ngayon po, maliit lang po na project yung aming tinitingnan at para lang malaman kung ito po ay eksaktong isda na nire-refer natin para hindi po magkagulo in terms of the management aspect ng mga bawat isda na ating inaaral. So yun po yung pagkakaiba ng gene bank sa DNA barcoding.
Alright, maraming po salamat Dr. Cleto. Mula po naman sa karagatan, lumako tayo sa kagubatan. Kasama po natin ngayon si Dr. Victor B. Amoroso, ang University Professor Emeritus ng Central Mindanao. Dr. Victor, ang expertise niyo po ay sa pag-aaral ng fern o pako. Bakit po ito ang inyong kinahiligang pag-aaral?
Una sa lahat, magandang hapon sa ating lahat. And thank you for inviting me to this forum. Bakit ako naging mahilig sa ferns at pinag-aralan ko? Actually, during my younger years, at saka when I had my BS Biology at Ilan University, talagang wala akong hilig sa ferns during that time. Kasi yung BS Biology curriculum sa Ilan, more on wildlife, zoology. I only had 2 subjects of botany sa Ilan University. From there, pumunta ako sa UP Diliman. Doon ko nakilala yung the only expert on Philippine ferns. Yung the only one, Dr. Prisciliano Zamora. Si Dr. Prisciliano Zamora po, siya lang po ang expert during that time. So, he was the one who introduced me sa field on ferns. Doon nagsimula ang interest ko at hanggang ngayon, yan na ang lab ko to do research on ferns.
Mula 1980, Dr. Amoroso, ay napag-aralan nyo na ang napakaraming species ng fern sa ating bansa. Ano ba ang kahalagahan na mapag-aralan at iba't ibang species ng pako? Bukod sa role nito sa ating ecosystem, Dr. Amoroso, at sa ating kalikasan, ano ba ang naitutulong ng halamang ito para sa tao?
Tama po kayo, Mr. Secretary, na ang dami-daming ferns sa Pilipinas, mga 1,200 species sa Pilipinas. Globally, we have 12,000 species. So it means that we have around 10% of the species found worldwide. So yan ang kadami ng ferns sa Pilipinas. And sa endemism naman, mga 28% or 308 species ang endemic sa Pilipinas. Ibig sabihin, itong mga 308 species of ferns, dito lang makikita sa Pilipinas. So that's importance na dapat we have to protect these threatened species. Endemic and threatened species. Yung mga endangered or mga threatened species naman, mga 131 species out of the 1,200 species in the Philippines. So mga 13% ang threatened. So yan, ang endemism at saka mga threatened species of ferns. Through botanical survey, nalaman namin na hindi lang isa ang edible fern, kundi 10. Ayun, nadagan pa namin, may isa pang species na idagdag namin. Ayun, ibig sabihin, as we explore places, we discover species that are useful. So, yan ang isa na edible ferns. More than 10 species na ngayon. Na noon isa lang, Diplasium esculentum lang. Itong Diplasium esculentum na edible fern, nalaman namin sa research namin na hindi lang pala siya ang dapat na i-promote natin. Meron tayong tawag na upat-upat o sa Bisaya upat-upat, apat-apat, yung mga local names kasi apat yung dahon niya. We call it Marsilia crenata. Sa rice field yan. Yun palang Marsilia crenata upat-upat, mas maganda pa sa Diplasium esculentum in terms of protein content, in terms of antioxidant activity, mataas ang Marsilia crenata o patapat na nasa rice field na nawala na din because of the heavy use of pesticide or weedicide. Kaya dapat yun, i-protect natin, i-conserve natin kasi mas maganda pala itong apat-apat kaysa Diplasium esculentum. Okay, madami pang example na edible ferns, no? So, isa lang yan, edible. Madaming ornamental species of ferns. No, there's a diversity of yung forms ng dahon, shape, size of the fern, maganda. Yung naman yung bata pa, yung younger leaves, younger fronds, pinkish ang color. In fact, yung tinatawag natin na cycad fern na makolekt lang sa Mindoro, doon lang makolekt talaga, nowhere else in the Philippines that you can collect that's so-called cycad fern. Na ang mahal-mahal, it costs more than 10,000 pesos per plant. No? So, dahil sa yung elegance ng cycad fern na planta yan, we call it Brania insignis. Another one that I should give examples sa ornamental plant na mahal na ngayon, yung staghorn fern. No, sa Pilipinas, 2 species lang ang staghorn fern. Platycerium grande, na Mindanao endemic, dito lang sa amin, at saka isang Platycerium coronarium na medyo widespread siya sa Mindanao, Visayas, and Luzon. Makita mo yan. Pero itong isa, Platycerium grande na mahal-mahal na din. It would cost as high as 10,000 per plant. Ornamental yan. So dapat padami natin yan. Kasi i-protect natin sa wild. So aside from that, meron tayong mga ginagamit na medicinal plants.
Yes.
Ang university namin, Central Mindanao University, is a top-class Lunas Development Center. And we're trying to develop some drugs from fern plants. No, anti-cancer, anti-inflammatory, yun ang some examples. And there's one species that is widely used as a cure for Alzheimer's. No, it's in Highland, and we have to tap that resource.
Kayo rin daw po, sir, ang natatag ng nag-iisang fern bank at fern garden para po sa may 100 species po ng fern sa Central Mindanao University. Bukid doon at sa tulong po din po ng USTP card. Ibahagi po ninyo sa amin bakit ito nainatag at ano pong gawain, sir, sa fern bank.
Totoo po yun, One, na yabang ko na ang sa MU mayroong the only ferns for bank and also a fern garden. Nowhere else in any academic institutions have the so-called ferns for bank and a fern garden. Magpasalamat kami, no? Sa Mindanao University, pasalamat sa Picard kasi binigyan kami ng pondo to establish itong so-called Ferns for Bank. Ibig sabihin, mayaman kami sa mga sports. Wala kaming masyadong pera, pero mayaman kami sa sports. Itong Ferns for Bank, importante ito. Dahil itong mga fern species naman, not all the time will sporulate or will produce spores in the wild. So, tinatarget namin na pag may spores na i-collect namin yun from the wild, store namin sa bank namin, sa Ferns for Bank. Okay? Kung nandyan na yan, yun ang gagamitin namin sa pagpadami sa mga endangered, endemic, and economic species of ferns. So source value yun sa pagpadami. Parang season niya na yun ang source pagpadami. Hindi lang kami ang gumagamit ng spores pagpadami, kundi ang mga estudyante namin gumagamit din ito pagpadami sa mga threatened endemic species, mga hobbyist. Yung nagko-collect from the wild, dapat bigyan namin ng spores para hindi sila punta sa bundok to overcollect this threatened endemic species of ferns. So yan ang importante po, the importance of having the Ferns for Bank. Ginawa namin from the Spore Bank, kasi yung Spore Bank namin nasa NSRC o Natural Science Research Center of the University. Dami kaming labs yan, and one of the labs, itong Spore Culture Lab, na doon nakahouse yung Ferns for Bank namin. Doon nagpapadami kami ng mga threatened endemic species through the use of spores. From the lab, dali namin dyan sa fern garden. So may connection. Hindi lang yung padami, ano gagawin yan. So ilagay namin sa fernery namin or fern garden to showcase yung several species of ferns in the Philippines, not only yung sa Mindanao lang. So we're expanding the collection of spores and the propagation of the species of ferns.
Dr. Victor, salamat po ng marami sa inyo. Ngayon po ang ating pag-uusapan, pag-aaral po ng ginawa tungkol sa mga indigenous vegetables sa Pilipinas. Makakasama po natin si Dr. Lorna Sister mula sa University of the Philippines at Baños. Dr. Lorna, magandang araw po. Ano po ba ang halimbawa ng mga indigenous vegetables at saan po ito karaniwan nakita?
Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. Kapag po gulay po na Pinoy ang pinag-uusapan, di po mawawala ang malunggay. Tapos yung talong kamote, alugbati, labong, puso ng saging, marami pang iba. Nasa likod ko po ngayon ay sa norte ito kilala. Kapas-kapas, pusa-pusa, Telosma procumbens po, kumbaga. Sa dinding po siya nilalagay, minsan sa tinola. Flower vegetable po siya. Ang gabi o taro, binanggit sa lahat ng areas po na binisita ng proyekto. May gabi na hiyang sa tubigan, iba-ibang klase po kasi. May hiyang naman sa tuyo. Lahat ng parte ng gabi, ginugulay. Depende na lang siguro kung saan parte ka ng Pilipinas na papapunta. Isa din ang popular na gulay, ang bunga ng langka. Ginagataan po. Pero sa Capital Sur, pati po ang talbos nito ay ginugulay din. Yung dahon po na bata pa. So may ilan din na kapamilya ng langka na binabanggit na ating kababayan na indigenous vegetables. So medyo magkukwento lang po ako. Ang kamansi, rimas, marang, at ang napakailap na chipoko ng Batanes. Ang puno na ito ay nasa paligid-ligid lang natin sa mga bundok at mga near forest areas also. Ang pako, ikwento ng very extensively ni Dr. Amoroso po, all over the Philippines po pala talaga sikat na sikat itong pako. Hiyang naman sa medyo matuwid na lupa, malamig na lugar, tulad ng bundok, nyugan, sa ilalim naman nyugan at gilid ng mga sapa. Ang indigenous vegetables po, hindi sila mahirap alagaan. Marami ay kinokolekta lang sa ating kapaligiran tulad ng kulitis o kusang tumutubo tulad ng ampalayang ligaw. Ang iba, parang halamang damo o weedy, tumutubo sa sakahan in between croppings tulad ng nabanggit ang apat-apat na fern, kamantulan, lupo at saluyot. Ginagawang bakod tulad ng katuray at lagikway.
Ang pangkaraniwang tao o pangkaraniwang Pilipino, ang alam lang na gulay ay hindi lalampas sa 15 klase. No? So ano ba ang naging dahilan kung bakit natin isinasagawa ang pag-aaral na ito tungkol sa mga indigenous vegetables?
Sir, Secretary, nung una po itong pinag-uusapan, naalala ko po, kasali po kayo doon sa usapang ito. Isa po kayo sa mga nag-udyok po na isulong natin ang ganitong proyekto na kahit pagdodokumento lang po. Kami masayang naatasan at isa katuparan ito dahil naniniwala din kami na isang kakulangan ang isang organisadong body of information na maaaring pagulan ng mas maraming pagsasaliksik at pagtutuklas in the future. Ang indigenous vegetables po generally are underutilized, under-researched. Yung potentials as source of micronutrients, nutraceuticals, pharmaceuticals din, antioxidants, natural fibers at marami pang iba, largely po untapped po siya. Pero ang conservation, management, and sustainable use of indigenous vegetables as plant genetic resources for food and agriculture, nagbibigay sila ang systematic documentation, including community-held knowledge. From there, saka po natin maiplot yung malinaw na ways to move forward in crop improvement, food and nutrition security, industry applications, facilitating value chains for indigenous vegetables. At hindi lang po value chains for the gulay themselves. Yun po mismong konsepto ng agrobiodiversity ng ating indigenous vegetables. It can also be by itself a value chain. Nagkakaroon po ng value yung mismo agrobiodiversity that they represent.
Alright. Dr. Lorna, ibahagi niyo po sa amin, ano po ang isinagawa niyong pag-aaral at ano ang pinaka-significant findings po ninyo?
Opo, sige po, ikukwento. Yung project team po namin, binubuo po siya ng faculty and researchers mula sa Institute of Crop Science, kung saan po ako, ng Institute of Plant Breeding, at ito pong team na to ay led by dati ni Professor Nestor Altuveros at ngayon po kay Professor Teresita Borromeo. Nag-retire na po si Prof. Nes. 100 barangay in 20 provinces po ang binisita namin. Abra, babanggit ko lang, Ilocos Norte, Ilocos Sur, La Union, Nueva Vizcaya, Nueva Ecija, Rizal, Batangas, Quezon, Camarines Sur, Leyte, Bohol, Siquijor, Capiz, Iloilo, Bukidnon, Davao del Sur, Surigao del Sur, South Cotabato, and Zamboanga del Norte. Nagpapasalamat din po kami sa kanila. Nagkakaroon kami ng focus group discussions, key format interviews din. Doon sa focus group discussions, community inventories po ang nangyayari. Local names ang ginagamit, may mga samples sila para nagkakaintindihan din kami. Pumunta kami sa field para makita mismo yung halaman whenever it was possible. Kasi po yung mga palms, mga ratan po, mahirap puntahan din. So, yung iba nakikita namin. May cooking demo din po para makita namin kung paano po talaga siya niluluto at natikap din po natin. So, naglista po ng species, gamit nila, dishes, recipes, field availability, market availability. Siguro yung key finding, masasabi namin, unang-una, napakarami po pala talaga natin pagkain. Ang dami nating gulay na masustansya, abot kaya, at maaari po itong tumugma dun sa ating layunin na pangangalagaan ng kalikasan. Higit po 100 species ang nakilala natin sa proyekto na ito, and we are still counting. We have not gone to other ecosystems, mostly upland po, terrestrial, syempre. Now, ibig sabihin, malaking bahagi ng agrobiodiversity ng Pilipinas ang ating katutubong gulay. Ngunit po ang yamang ito, hindi natin masyadong napakinabangan. Kasi po, marami sa mga gulay na ito ay di kilala. Kinain ng mas nakakarami. So lacking the knowledge about them, they are either ignored or slowly being destroyed. Unang-una, dahil po sa kawalan ng kaalaman, humantong po tayo sa pagkawala ng pagpapahalaga. Our indigenous vegetables has become obscure. Kahit po dun sa communities, maraming hindi rin po nakakakilala. And not knowing what to do with them, they become almost valueless. Tapos po, nag-shift yung land use to what is perceived to be or what are perceived to be higher value options. To an environment. Yung higher value options, yung pag-build up, papalit ng crops, yung nabanggit kaninang of the changing crops, kailangan natin ng high inputs and all those other changes in our farming systems. Kailangan din naman natin pagkain, kailangan natin ng higher productivity. But it has gone towards an environment mostly not conducive anymore to the growth and survival of our indigenous vegetables. So we are also losing these genetic resources and their the associated agro-biodiversity. Banggitin ko lang po mabilis yung case ng dinengdeng at saka yung marami niyang variants. Dinapa, bulanglang, lauoy, linapahan, laswa. We found that there are at least 31 indigenous vegetables for dinengdeng, and it's many variants. So it's actually a part of agro-biodiversity nurtured by our culinary tradition sa pagkain at paggawa ng dinengdeng, pagluluto, iba-ibang version. So ano pong benefits? Low cost, most gathered, shared ng community, and it's readily available. Healthy, nutritious. Base po sa datos ng ating Philippine Food Composition Table sa Food and Nutrition Research Institute, yung combinations po ng dinengdeng, lalo na dun sa basic po yung green leafy vegetables, it is able to meet, tiningnan po namin, hindi po kami eksperto dito, pero nakita namin, pwede po niyang ma-meet ang daily requirements ng isang bata for vitamins A and C, calcium, and phosphorus. Isama na rin po natin ang health benefits for nursing mothers, which is very important. Tapos po yung livelihood activities, marami po tayong mga kababaihan na traders, kababaihan, kabataan na gatherers and assemblers of dinengdeng vegetables tulad ng mga sa malunggay, may industriya po doon, nangongolekta, saluyot, and talbos ng ampalaya. So paano ma-reverse ang devaluation na ito na nakikita namin? So malaking bahagi po ang impormasyon, investments, and in communication infrastructure din po.
Lorna,
Yes, sir.
siguro kung hihingan kita ng mga 2 important recommendations that you can give as a result of your study, ano yun?
Sir, unang-una, hindi po ako crop scientist, pero ang nangunguna po sa akin po, isa lang muna. Marami po kasi pag may dalawa.
Sige.
Isa po, sir, I'm really seeing the importance of investing in communication dun po sa mga, because we are actually investing a lot in our urban areas where the speed of development is very fast. Ngayon, yung ating communication din po, galing sa urban areas towards, may nasa urban, pero yung saan may potential po yung higher end, higher values. Tapos po, yung kaalaman, kung ano meron dito sa ating more remote areas, hindi po siya nakakalabas, nawawalan siya ng halaga, and there is no meeting in between. So I think, sabi ko po before, lagyan po natin ng signal ng gitna ng palayan, ng gulayan, para po, we have this meeting of knowledge, information, and we are, and they are able, nakakasabay po sila sa information highway. And they're also able to appreciate that. So, kaya po tayo nagre-research, interview na naman, sabi ng mga farmer. Pero if we invest in that, there is this ongoing flow information that is not only one way. Kaya rin po na nawala. Marketing po kasi, even if there's no demand, you create the demand because the value is created in the mind of yung, that's advertising. So pag nagawa natin also opposite the current direction of information and value formation, maganda po, sir. Sana, of course, communication companies, that's also business. So they should see business a bottom line na maganda pag nag-invest doon.
Alright. Marami pong salamat sa lahat po ng ating mga naging panoin. Sa amin pong pagbabalik, sasagutin po ng Secretary Boy ang tanong ng bayan. Huwag po kayo alis, magkabalik pa ang US. Oras na para sagutin ni Secretary Boy ang tanong ng bayan. Tanong mula kay Ms. Mary Tenorio ng Radyo Aguila. Do you have existing technology that will prevent our flora and fauna for extinction?
Siguro tanongin natin yung ating mga kasama. So halimbawa si Dr. Amoroso, ang nakikita ko diyan ay siyempre yung pag-iingat natin itong mga collection ng germplasm at itong ating gene bank ay isang mahalaga na hakbang para ma-prevent yung extinction. Pero siguro makakapagbigay ng kanyang informasyon or kukuro-kuro si Dr. Amoroso.
Yung extinction of the species naman, ma-prevent natin yan if we work closely with the local stakeholders. Itong mga local stakeholders or indigenous peoples in the area around the mountain ecosystem, sila ang dapat i-train natin para ma-protect yung biodiversity in the wild. There are two manners in conserving, protecting biodiversity. One would be on-site conservation or in-situ conservation. Sa in-situ conservation, walang problema sa protected areas because in protected areas, merong mga PAMB, yung Protected Area Management Board, at saka manage ito ng mga mayors, LGU officials, and wala tayong worry sa biodiversity in protected areas. Though in some cases, kahit PA siya protected area, may nag-encroach, may nag-collect. Kasi yung laxity of the implementation of our laws, very lax in some places. But kung sa ibang place naman, in place na yung law, na-implement naman. So, protect yung biodiversity. Ang exito nakatulong sa extinction dahil kung threatened siya, curtail endangered ba siya, so high ang priority for protection and conservation. Mag-collect tayo ng mga spores, kung Fern spores, or kung flowering plants or seed plants, kulitan ng seeds. Propagate that, and i-mass propagate natin dyan sa nursery, then ibalik natin sa wild. Just like ginawa namin sa ferns. Meron tayong spore bank nga, may different spores na gamitin to increase the population of the threatened endemic species. Sa garden, yung iba doon, ibalik natin sa bundok o sa wild para mapadami sila. That's one way, another way of avoiding extinction. Yan po. So you implement yung both on-site conservation and off-site or in-situ and ex-situ conservation activities po, involving the stakeholders around the area.
Alright. Maraming po salamat. Ano po ang intervention ng DOST sa biodiversity ng Boracay at Iloilo? Yan po'y tanong ni Jun Aguirre ng Iloilo Press Club.
Ang alam ko lang naging role namin dyan sa Boracay yung tungkol sa management ng waste, saka yung mga technology sa pagpapalinis ng tubig. Halimbawa yung aming Bigormin product na resulta ng research and development. Pero wala akong alam na naging involvement namin tungkol sa biodiversity sa Boracay.
Okay. One germplasm collection if necessary. How are these collected? Yan po'y tanong ni Henrylito Tasio ng Edge Davao.
Siguro karugtong ito ng sagot din ni Dr. Amoroso. Mag-complementary po kasi yung in situ at saka yung ating off-site na conservation. Siguro pangalawang recommendation ko na rin ito sa tinanong ni Secretary kanina, yung conservation po. So yung off-site po, it's more of may mga private po, but we also need a lot of public investment in that. Kasi po, on-site, usually it happens through use. Kasi kailangan nilang gamitin, kinakain. So people are motivated to conserve. So yung hindi nagagamit, hindi nakakain, perceived to be valueless, medyo future and potential use po kasi yun. So medyo nawawala po sila. So off-site po, there's a big role po ng public funding at saka sa private companies naman, they have their breeding naman din na mga agenda. So that's why they conserve. So in the public sector, kailangan po siya pero hindi po rin natin kayang sakupin lahat because we have limited resources. So paano po siya ginagawa? So we set priorities kung ano po ang pwede itago off-site sa ating mga gene banks. For example, the National Repository po natin for plant resources for agriculture, useful and potentially useful, nasa National Plant Genetic Resources Lab na based sa Institute of Plant Breeding ng UPLB. So meron po tayong about 30,000 accessions representing 400 species of legumes, fruits and nuts, vegetables, including indigenous vegetables. We have root crops. So yun po yung mga crop groups na nakatago sa National Plant Genetic Resources Lab. Then of course, there are also gene banks in meron sa state universities, meron din pong nagkikip sa Bureau of Plant Industry. So kailangan po sila, hindi po siya kaya ng isang ahensya, isang entity, or isang kumpanya, or isang community. Kailangan po siyang concerted effort ng maraming sektor. Kasi po, hindi po at all times na napapahalagaan po ito ating genetic resources. Hindi po natin nakikitang value, but they might have that value in the future, yung mga industry applications, at saka po sources din po sila ng ating materials for improving our crops, like pest and disease resistance, aside from the materials that they supply us.
Okay. Ito yung huling katanungan na po mula po kay Christian Yosores ng Bombo Radio. How beneficial is germplasm collection for the agriculture industry, especially at this time where the country is facing challenges in food security? May malalapitan po ba ang DOST agency ang farmers for gene banking?
Particularly sa fern naman, meron tayong Diplasmium sculentum na garden na nagpapadami. Ngayon sa CMU, talagang ako, very proud ako dahil ngayon successful na kami sa pag-farm ng Marsilia. Yung patapat na much better than the Diplasmium sculentum. Kaya itong Marsilia crenata o patapat, ito ay promote namin. In fact, nag-produce kami, may chemical analysis, physical-chemical analysis of the species ng Marsilia. Tapos may mga food products na kami. I've been involved a food science person to do some food products preparation. So meron tayong na Fern-desal, na is pandesal with the fern, Marsilia crenata, sa paggawa ng pandesal. So we call it Fern-desal. Merong mga tea out of fern plant. So yan po ang some examples na napadami namin, successful kami kasi noon hirapan kami pagpadami sa Marsilia crenata. In fact, I heard from Ma'am Loli Cruz, our national scientist, na kasi binigyan ko siya ng planting materials, napadami din niya. At saka may tawag siya na parang pang-spread ng bread out of Marsilia. Yun, good news kasi na-expand yung use ng Marsilia. Si Emil Medbeck, maganda palang Marsilia, masarap, ganon, tapos ginamit tayong pang-spread sa bread. Yan po, one example lang po yun.
Meron din akong good experience dyan at related dito dun sa rekomendasyon ni Lorna na importanteng magkaroon ng information dissemination or communication. Alam mo, meron kaming naging beneficiaries sa Region 7. Ito ay mga grupo ng mga retired teachers na gusto pa nilang maging productive. Natuwa ako sa kanilang proyekto kasi ang kanilang proyekto ay gumagawa sila ng mga planting materials for trees na pwedeng panggalingan ng source of food. At tuwa ako kasi ang una ipinakita sa akin ay pinagbibili nilang mga planting materials ng rimas, breadfruit. Alam mo, pagbalik ko sa kanila, ang dami-dami na nilang produkto made out of breadfruit. Iba-ibang klaseng mga produkto. At nakita ko naman, biruin mo itong mga 70s, 80s year old mga they felt that they were still productive. And yet, they were able to contribute something, yung pagpapalawak ng kaalaman doon sa pagkain na yon at makakadagdag din sa source ng ating food supply.
Alright. Secretary, maraming salamat po. Baka may mga nais pa kayong sabihin sa oras na ito, sir.
Oh, well, napakaganda ng mga presentation natin. Yung ating barcoding, yung ating sa tungkol sa mga pako. At yung aking, yun nga, sinabi kanina ni Lorna na involved ako dyan sa pagtutulak ng project na yan. Kasi mula nung natutuhan ko, ako yung nagpunta sa Asia Vegetable Research Institute. At doon ko nakita ang libu-libong koleksyon ng tungkol sa mga gulay, koleksyon ng mga gulay. At in-emphasize nila na ang mga tao daw, pangkaraniwan, ang kilala lang gulay ay hindi lumalampas sa 15. Kaya siguro i-check ninyo yung sarili kung ilang gulay ang kilala ninyo, mapapatunayan nyo na very limited ang kaalaman nyo. At nung ako'y maglibot sa mga regions na may kinalaman din sa Tuklas Lunas, ang dami kong nakitang mga gulay at mga bunga sa iba't ibang rehiyon na hindi mo makikita sa ibang rehiyon. Kaya sabi ko, aralin natin yan, ano yung available sa iba't ibang region, lalo na yung mga gulay. Kaya mahalaga ang gulay sa ating buhay.
Ayan. Maraming salamat, Secretary Dr. Cleto L. Nanyola Jr., Professor 5 ng University of the Philippines, Mindanao. Maraming salamat po, sir. Maraming salamat po kay Dr. Victor V. Amoroso, ang Professor Emeritus ng Central Mindanao University sa Muzuan, Bukidnon. Maraming po salamat. At kay Dr. Lorna Sister, University Researcher 2 ng Institute of Crop Science, UPLB. Maraming po salamat. Mga kaibigan, abangan nyo rin po ang Sinisiyensya tuwing Lunes at Expert Talk online tuwing Miyerkules alas 5 ng hapon kasama si Jel Miranda sa DOST Facebook page at YouTube channel. Mas marami pong balita mula sa mundo ng siyensya at teknolohiya ang ating pag-uusapan. Tutok lamang po kayo tuwing Biyernes alas 4 ng hapon dito sa DOST Facebook page. Ako po si Orin Miranda. Ito ang mga balitang may kinalaman sa siyensya at teknolohiya para sa bawat Pilipino, straight from the S&T Authority ng bansa. Ito ang DOST Report.